Hare Krishna, we have been asked one question, why to worship idols when God says that He is everywhere? First, I would like to point out that we are actually not worshipping idol. Idol worship is born of mental speculation, but our worship in the temple, this is authorized in the Vedic scriptures. It is not our invention. There is a good reason for it also. Why to install the deity in the temple and worship God in that form instead of just worshipping the God who is everywhere. It is true that God is everywhere. Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, he says, Yomam pashyati sarvata savam cha mayi pashyati tasyaham na pranashami sachami na pranashyati. That one who sees everything in me and me in everything, for him I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. So, it is true that we should see Krishna in everything. But that does not mean that Krishna is only in everything. He is also specifically somewhere. That's the inconceivable nature of God, which we cannot understand simply by our mental speculation. If God was simply everywhere, then it would be very difficult for us to understand Him as a person and to serve Him. How do you serve the God who is everywhere? We are meant to serve God. That is our constitutional position. We have come to this material world because we have rebelled against God, against the Supreme Lord. We don't want to serve Him. We want to compete with Him. So now we need to rectify that mentality. So, this material world, when we understand this, that we are actually servants of God, then it becomes the training ground where we can learn to serve God as we are meant to, so that we can qualify to go back to home, back to Godhead, back to Krishna. And the deity is exactly meant for that. Krishna manifests in that form just so that we can serve Him with our material senses. Krishna in His original spiritual form cannot be perceived, cannot be served with these material senses. But Krishna appears in this form made of material elements just so that we can serve Him. It's a great mercy of the Lord. Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, in the chapter 9, the last verse, 634, which is actually considered the nucleus verse of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Manmana bhavamat bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mami vaishasi satyam te mami vaishasi yukta evam atmana matparayana. Engage your mind always in thinking of me, become my devotee, offer obeisances to me and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. So Krishna says 4 things. We should always think of Him, we should become His devotee, we should bow down before Him, we should worship Him. So, all of these things are done in relationship with Krishna in His deity form. Srila Prabhupada, he speaks about this in his purport to this verse. He says, there are hundreds and thousands of temples in India for the worship of Krishna, and devotional service is practiced there. When such practice is made, one has to offer obeisances to Krishna. One should lower his head before the deity and engage his mind, his body, his activities, everything. That will make one fully absorbed in Krishna without deviation. This will help one transfer to Krishna Loka. We have these senses, and to become God conscious, if we are not allowed to transfer, to use our senses, that will become very difficult. That's the problem with the impersonal process, that they try to just stop all sensory activities, but it is very artificial. Natural living entities are naturally persons, they are naturally active, they are naturally using their senses. So the deity is a great blessing for the conditioned soul, because he can use his material senses for the service of Krishna. We can see the beautiful decorated form of the deity, his smiling face in the temple. We can prepare tasty food for him. We can sing for him. We can dance for him. So many things. We can collect money. We can pay the expenses of the temple, and give a percentage of our earning for the worship in the temple. In this way, unlimited ways that we can serve the deity form of the Lord. And in this way, all of our activities become spiritualized. Actually, every family should have the deity installed in their house, and they should cultivate the understanding that this is not my house. This house is a temple of the Lord, and I am living in the Lord's temple as His servant. Everything I do is actually for the service of the Lord. And in this way, by the very same activities which the materialists perform and which entangle them in material existence, one actually becomes God conscious. One becomes purified, one paves his path back home, back to Godhead. It's a great science has been given by Krishna himself, and we should not reject it. Hare Krishna.